turning to rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes. I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
Morning.
You're muted. You're muted. Oh, he hit the mute button.
Welcome back.
I think it went to your other outlet. Fix that. What up, chat? Eddie fell off. You guys start this episode off great. What up, everybody in the chat? This is what happens after a loss, right? We were hoping so bad for a win last night. Have excited vibes this morning with Mr. Ward hanging out with us this AM. Microphone's not working. Phil stuck in traffic. Eddie's internet just died, but we here.
And I'm sorry. I do apologize. All you Knicks fans out there, wake up and get your coffee. So, how are you doing this morning, big fella?
I'm good, bro. I mean, last night was brutal. You know, honestly, I'm still recovering from this past weekend. You know, it feels like it's been nonstop. But man, you know, there's a lot we could talk about from last night. I'm excited though. We got Charlie Ward on the panel coming up here.
Yes, sir.
You know, reminisce a little bit about them 90s Knicks, talk a little Seminole football and all that good stuff, you know?
Before we get into it, right, if you got the link for Buy Me a Coffee, if you could just drop it in the chat. Just want to let you guys know. Last weekend, it was a movie when we all linked up in New York City outside of Madison Square Garden. This weekend, this Sunday, we're headed out to Tampa, right? So we got one more leg for our trip. If you guys can, help us out, and whichever way you guys can, Celso is going to drop the link for Buy Me a Coffee. We appreciate the super chats, but when it comes to Buy Me the Coffee, it lets us keep 95% of what you guys donate to us. YouTube takes about 30% of that, so if you guys can help us out, we really do appreciate it, and let's get things rolling. Celso, we got our guest backstage. I see him walking around. Go ahead. Do it. Go ahead, Celso. Set it up perfectly.
Let me make sure our guest is ready. He'll give us a thumbs up. Let us know he's good.
Let me see.
Let's see. Charlie! Coach!
Good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you this morning, Coach?
Good.
Doing well. Just heading to an office, so that's why I'm walking.
All right.
Nice.
All right. You know, if I knew you were going on a walk today, I would have gone with you. You know, we could have done the whole episode live, just walking along together. It would have been great.
Yeah, well, I'm sure where you guys are, probably have a lot more people.
Well, you know, I'm in Dykeman right now in New York City, you know, so but it looks nice around where you at right now, Mr. Charlie Ward. Appreciate you taking time this morning to join us for the conversation. I'm just gonna get right into it.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks this season it's been a good time when it comes to the Knicks, and most frankly, it's been a good time when it comes to the Knicks over the past few years, because ever since the last time you were with the Knicks in the finals in 1999, the franchise lost a little bit of flavor. So I just want to ask you, what's your thoughts on this team and the culture change that Tom Thibodeau in the front office has implemented? As a former Knick, I know you guys are a little bit proud seeing what this team is right now.
Yes, but once a Knick, always a Knick, as they say. And so I'm not one of those guys who are going to bash the team when they're not doing well at any given point. And so I think that's something that, sometimes happens. But I'm, of course, Tibbs was there with us when I was there, and so I know a lot about his culture, his mindset. All those things are still relatable today because they're foundational pieces to success. And so I'm just happy to see that they're, having great success. People get so up in arms, I think, a lot of times because they may not have the success that they desire. Like making it to the championship every year, or being put out in a competitive series. but you have to have stepping stones to get into where you want to get to sometimes. And sometimes you never know how long that is. It may take 4 years, 3 to 4 years, or sometimes it's a 1 year deal. But we just have to see and enjoy, what's been going on these past few years. They made the playoffs, which is a great start. That was non-existent for a long time. And not having success in the playoffs once you got there. So I think we just have to be grateful for those times that we have where the team is. And, right now they're going through a little struggle with some health issues. But I think overall, when it's all said and done, getting those guys that were traded in the mix, I think they'll be okay.
Go ahead, Sels.
Charlie, thank you so much for making time this morning. We know your schedule's crazy. I want to change it up a little bit because it was yesterday when I was working on my graphic, my daughter walked by, and it's funny that my daughter recognized who you were, but because of Netflix. So is it crazy, Charlie, that it goes from your Seminole days to your Knicks days to Netflix, how you've been able to capture all these different generations? Because I'll be honest, I had no idea my daughter would be like, oh, wait. And she brought up Family Reunion. I was like, are you kidding me that my daughter knew it because of Netflix? Do you get that a lot? What do you get more? The Seminole days, the Knicks days, or nowadays is it the Netflix and coaching?
Well, it's crazy that you bring that up. I'm like a one-hit wonder on Family Reunion, but it's crazy because a lot of the younger generation that watches, Family Reunion, that is how they know me. Like I'm not sure how old your daughter is, but a lot of the younger kids recognize me as the guy on Family Reunion. And so that's very interesting. And then the parents are like, well, I remember me from wherever the Seminole professional career. And so it's just that huge gap, but I'm grateful that, I had an opportunity to be on Family Reunion. It was a great experience for me. And I'm glad that I can be in the house of others.
That's
awesome. Well, now it's official. You're able to put on your resume. You're a triple threat. You was a quarterback, you was a point guard in the NBA, and now you got that. You got to act as well. Triple threat, Charlie Ward.
So, Charlie, we actually had a lot of the community reached out over the last couple of days and threw some questions. So I want to bring a couple of those up. First one we got here. It was brought in by Captain Pro New York Nick. He said, best player you ever played with and best player you ever went against as a Knick.
Well, I was with the Knicks for 9.5 years. And so I had a lot of great teammates over the course of that time. And, you name it. I mean, they were there. From John Starks to Patrick Ewing, to Larry Johnson, Marcus Camby, Kirk Thomas, Mark Jackson, just to name a few. And the guy that Latrell Sprewell, just keep going. This is just to name a few of those guys, but the guy that I really, meshed with a lot because we were there for a great amount of time together was Allen Houston. So when you start, it wasn't so much the best player for me. It was more so who I enjoyed being around. And we sharpened one another from not just the basketball court, but off the court as well. And so Allen Houston, to me, would be what I consider the best player that I played with because of our friendship more than anything else. And I get a question like that a lot about who's the best that I played against. And I just throw these names out there, and then you can tell, you can say and feel how you want. I got a chance to play against Mark Jackson in Indiana when he was in Indiana. So that was always a treat. He was the guy who was bullying me, backing me down, and all that kind of carrying on because he was much bigger. I was doing the Allen Iverson upstart. Stephon Marbury during that time as well. Tim Hardaway, had some battles with him in Miami. So those are just a few guys. Tim was in the back end of his career. Those other guys were in the front end of their careers. But nonetheless, I enjoy the competitive nature and spirit of the game. And, I did the best I could because those guys I named were, all-stars in some form of fashion. And, I wasn't an all-star, but I played my role and worked to try to play it as best I could.
I'll tell you, heck, you heard the list, bro. Like, how could you?
Yeah.
There's nothing negative to say about that entire list. Like, when you hear the
all.
names listed, it's like, holy crap, you went through an era, Charlie, that made us the Knicks fans that we are. Okay, the fact that I can sit here and say, oh my God, we finally have a point guard since Charlie Ward, like, that's huge. But go ahead, heck, I'm gonna throw it over to you, bro.
No, I just want to say he brought up a few names on my checklist that I was like, God damn, I'm getting up there when it comes to my Knicks fandom. As a young Knicks fan, I grew up with the late '90s Knicks as the team that my older cousins and my uncle that used to root for. I was a freshman in high school, and that's when I fully started following the game. But that was the year when the Knicks traded for Stephon Marbury. So hearing the name Stephon Marbury, Kurt Thomas, those were the Knicks that I grew up watching, especially Kurt Thomas. I used to watch his game. You could never tell me, like, listen, you wouldn't be able to make it as a 5'1" power forward in AAU. But the way that Kurt Thomas played, I was trying to be that 5'1" power forward in AAU. I want to get to some more fan questions. Everybody in the chat, if you got some questions, drop it in the chat. We'll try to pull up as many as we can for our guest, Mr. Charlie
I like
Ward.
this one here. Heck, you ready?
Go ahead.
Charlie, the question is, this current Knick team versus one of yours, who wins?
Nice fantasy question.
Well, there's a difference in era. Let's be open about that. And so in this day and age, there's very little touch fouls. We ran a lot of predetermined sets. However, I think the Knicks do some of that, but a lot of today's game is about motion, movement, ball screens on the run, just a lot of differences in that area. And then defensively, I mean, it's hard not to touch people today, but during my time, I'm not sure how many flagrant fouls we would have had because they would have gone to the monitor quite a bit during that time. But grateful that we grew up in different eras. But when it's all said and done, we didn't score a whole lot of points like they're doing today. And I'm not sure why that was the case. Maybe the defense was different. And the offense is somewhat different because, you're playing with a more free-flowing style today. So it's kind of hard to say who would win because the eras were different from an offense and defensive standpoint. But hopefully it would be a good game.
Yeah. Well, John in the chat said, just say it, Charlie. Your team would whoop any team today. That's right, John. Say it with your chest.
Well, if you look at the facts, the 1999 Knicks, they made it to the finals, and that's when Ewan got injured. So you gotta give the if you were to say favoritism, you gotta give the favorite to the 1999 team.
For real.
I mean, yes, of course, we made it. We made it there in the playoffs. Made it to East Conference Finals, second round as well. So we had a good run. But then again, it's just that whole, era thing that everyone has a debate about in this day and age. That's the debate, the eras, and they're different. I would admit that. And so, but if someone wants to say who would win, my team would win.
There you go. There you go.
I'll
Said
tell
it
you,
with
on
your
this
chest.
panel, we would agree with you 100%. I got another fan question here, Charlie. If you don't mind, we'll take one more from the fans. But question I think you probably get a million times in your lifetime, but even I, always curious, the Seminole career, then into the Knicks. Did you personally love football more than basketball? Did you love one more than the other?
Now here's a plug for my book that I have out. It's been out for about 2 years now, and the name of the book is called The Athlete. And so people ask me about football, basketball, love, and all of that. And I was an athlete, and I enjoyed playing. That's the reason why I played football and basketball in college, because I just enjoyed, the competition. I enjoyed those sports, and that's why I couldn't decide on which sport I wanted to play. And so I just have a love for sports and the competition of it. And one of the reasons why I'm coaching today as a high school boys basketball coach down here in Tallahassee at Florida State University School. So I just have a love for sports. And I was an athlete, so I didn't really have one over the other.
Word on the street is the New York Jets. They're looking for a quarterback, right? So if you want to make it a full circle moment, come back to New York City and help the Jets, Charlie Ward. They desperately need one.
That is not me today. Like people say, well, you can do it. I was like, not today.
So, Coach, I want to bring this up real quick, and then we want to be respectful for your time. I'm guessing your experience and everything really has built and instilled in you what you're passing on to these kids, what you've done with that program, turning into a championship. Yeah. Has that all really played a major part? And how do you pass that on to the kids that you're coaching now?
Well, I think we all have experiences. And once we realize our why for what we do, we want to be able to share that with other people, whether it's positive or negative, because it can definitely help someone else in the long run make better choices, or see how you've made some of your choices to get to where you are today. And so being able to, make an impact on the young athletes that I coach, helping them see their purpose for being on a team, being a great son, and doing the things that they desire to do and what it's going to take to get there, but also giving them exposure. The Lord has blessed me to be able to have quite a few friends and networks that, I would like to share with them. And if it's to be able to help open a door for someone, like someone help open a door for me, I want to be able to do that. And so that's just one way that we can give back. And I'm grateful that, Florida State University School gave me an opportunity to do that. But I've been coaching high school. Been a high school coach. I was a football coach for about 12 years or so. And then I jumped into basketball the past 6 years. And so football coaching was great building of character. We didn't win very much. And basketball has been the same, but we've won quite a bit. And so, but both experiences have been great experiences, because I've been able to do the same thing in all the stops that I've been able to be a part of. So whether we win or lose, the goal is to make an impact and share the wealth, so to speak, with the young men that come into our program.
That's dope. That's dope. I want to ask you, Charlie, when it comes back to this team, right? I know I brought up the 1999 team. Patrick Ewing, the captain, he got injured, right? Especially when you guys needed him the most in the finals against the Spurs. When you look at this team, we're dealing with injuries right now. How is it for the fans that are looking from the outside? How is it when it comes to the team, and when an injury happens, how everybody else rallies around and try to step up in the absence of that player? How is it from a player's perspective?
Well, I mean, like I tell my players all the time, the guys, everyone wants a different role than the role that they're playing currently and asked to play. And when injuries happen, you need guys that want bigger roles to step up and take on those roles. But when you lose continuity of your group, especially if some of your better players are not playing, it also eats away at your depth because that plays a big part in the success of teams. When you have everyone playing, you have a lot of depth, and as a coach, you can mix and match those pieces when you have that depth. But when you're shorthanded, you have to roll with what you have and try to, make the best of it. And guys have to step up each and every night to make it happen. In the absence of, a big time scorer like we have Julius Randle being out right now. And so at this juncture of the season, there are going to be injuries. Like everyone's dealing with something. It's a long season, and so they're dealing with something. And it's just a matter of having to work through those issues and be the best that you can be on each night. And it also helps to have a cushion. A lot of times, you build a cushion, 10 games, 12-game cushion, and then if you hit a bump in the road like this, it's not a big hit to your positioning in the conference. And so I think that plays a big part in where the Knicks are as well. They took care of the business during the portion of the season where they got a cushion, and now they're struggling a little bit. But coming down the stretch, if you can continue to put good, solid wins together, but also what this is doing is giving guys opportunities to get some game experience as well, because you never know when you're going to need those guys in a playoff series to play big minutes. And so this experience and getting this continuity with, this group could definitely help long term.
So, Charlie, who on this team, and I asked John when he was here, when Starks came through on the episode, I asked him the same question. Who on this team has that 1990s Knicks, Charlie Ward personality attitude that you see on the court right now? If you had to say someone was closest to your style of game, who are you giving that credit to?
Well, I'll have to give it to one of my former teammates, his son, Jaylen, because he was around us. He has an old school type of game. He is a one-on-one guy, creator, but his game is kind of old school. He plays it on the floor. He's not above the rim all the time. He uses his footwork. All those things are, very old school. So, so I would say, he would probably fit in the 90s era.
Nice.
And it's unique that you say that, right? Because some fans don't know, and I'll just make this real quick. When it comes to Jaylen Brunson, he has a relationship. Well, his father has a relationship not only to the Knicks, but with Tom Thibodeau, and it goes back from when they were young. Him and Tom Thibodeau, I think Rick Brunson was at Salem High School while Tom Thibodeau was at Boston University, if I'm not mistaken, and that's where their relationship first met. So I want to ask you, somebody put it in the chat, you brought up your relationship with Tom Thibodeau. How does he compare with Van Gundy? You're a coach now, you play for Van Gundy. How is the comparisons?
Well, they're all from the same tree. And so, Pat Riley, Rick Pitino, Coach Van Gundy was a part of, those trees. And so his style is very similar. I mean, he's going to be detail oriented. Guys are going to know what they're supposed to be doing. During our time, was, we took that instruction and ran with it. During this time, guys want options and want to have more say-so in game plan. And it's understood. Like I tell my players, if you're all on the same, y'all communicating together in what we're doing, go for it. As long as you guys are communicating and you know what you're doing, then we can work around the other stuff. But Yeah, Tibbs is, he's an old school coach that's learning to coach in this era, 21st century. And sometimes I think he's grown in that area because he's, if you want to survive, you have to change. You have to adjust.
Yeah.
That's a part of coaching, and I think he's done a good job of mixing the two, still keeping his style as well as learning the style of what the game is doing today, and so that'll help sustain him. But when it's all said and done, you got to defend and you got to score. And so if you don't have players that want to defend and players that want to score, but more importantly, you got to have guys that are willing to play a role. And I think they've done a good job. Our front office has done a good job of putting this team together and trying to find, the right healthy balance between, scoring, guys playing their role, guys still being able to play defense, and excelling in that role. Especially with Mitchell being out, just trying to find guys to fill in, which is, I think they've done a good job doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, Coach, before we let you go, I've got two quick ones for you. Shout out to Cheesy Souls, dropped a $4.99 super chat and said, "Salute, Mr. Ward. Mad respect. Thanks for all you've done for our team. We will always be welcome to the barbecue." Question is the dream to coach in the NBA? Thanks for the Cheesy super.
Appreciate that Cheesy Soul
Charlie,
Cake.
every time I see this person in the chat, the cake picture gets me hungry every time. But go ahead. How we feel?
Yeah, my pre-diabetes are acting up looking at that picture. Go ahead, Charlie.
I coached in the NBA for 2 years after I retired with the Houston Rockets. And, that was a great experience. That's where I kind of got my coaching start under Coach Van Gundy. And so I was grateful for him. But I have no desire to coach in the NBA. I am super happy where I am in high school, and like to try to help elevate that group and help instill in them some of the values of being prepared to go to college and play professional. We have one of our kids, one of our athletes that I coached. He just got traded to the Brooklyn Nets in the G League. Jaylen Martin.
Okay.
He was with the Knicks G League. So he was one of our athletes for 3 years before he went to OTE his senior year. But I'm content where I am. And actually, my wife and I are in preparation of building a youth sports and arts education and wellness facility
that's amazing.
here in Tallahassee. So that'll be, the next stop on my journey.
That's awesome. I love it.
Amazing.
He said, "I'd rather be a grower of men and not deal with grown men headaches." Charlie, I love it. Last one for you, Coach. New York Insufferable in the chat. Appreciate you, bud. Said, "Would love to hear from you, Charlie. Do you think this Knicks roster, if healthy, could compete for a championship, or do we need another piece?"
Great final question.
People are always asking about another piece.
Another piece. Thank you.
I totally get it. And I think every team is always looking for another piece until they get to the mountaintop. And then when they get to the mountaintop, you get guys leaving, and then you need more pieces. I just think sometimes it's good to have continuity. And I know they made trades this year to try to provide necessary things they need for this group. And when we start talking about one more piece, I mean, who is and who would fit this group, to get to a championship? And then again, I mean, you got the Boston Celtics who, I mean, they got what they need, and they surround themselves with, their star players and pieces that they need to be successful. It's hard getting to the championship. Everybody thinks it's like an easy deal. It's very hard from year to year to make it. And so I've always just talked about just giving yourself a chance or an opportunity to be successful. So when you are in a series, you're able to, give yourself a chance to win, because in sports, as we know, the ball definitely has to go in for you to win, and you have to defend for you to win. And sometimes that doesn't happen. But I think they have enough I don't know about winning a championship, but I do think they have enough to be in the conversation to get there. But they have to be healthy, of course, just like any team, especially if your best players aren't healthy. It makes it even tougher to win a championship. But the thing you want to be is in the mix. So if you have a team that can compete at the highest level, then that is essentially what you're looking for. And then you just take the chips, as they fall.
Well, I want to say, number one, Charlie, yes, thank you so much for making time. Hey, chat, we got over 75 of you in here. Please drop the blue and orange hearts. Show our boy Charlie some love. Charlie, I'm going to throw this out there. So excited to hear more about what you and your wife are trying to build.
Yes.
If there's any way that we can help in that, please feel free to let us know. We love to get involved in any way we can. But thank you so much for making time this morning. And hopefully we all will start seeing some more wins, and we can hit you up again when things are on a higher note, Charlie.
Appreciate you guys. And go New York, go New York, go.
Yay!
Hey, that's what it is. Appreciate you, Coach. You have a good one. That was a good conversation. I'm not gonna lie. The inner child in me is a little excited. And I've seen some people in the chat. I didn't want to bring it up. I see people in the chat ask if CWC is Charlie Ward's cousin. I didn't want to make him feel awkward and ask him, hey, there's this random ass man on the internet running around saying he's your cousin. So is he your cousin? And I think Eddie Presley is froze again. NYK insufferable with the $4.99 super chat. Legendary, great conversation. Appreciate the Brew crew and the legend Charlie Ward. Now we appreciate you, my guy.
I got to point this out. You got Eddie, who was here with us 15 minutes before the show starts. His power completely went out, and now we're seeing a black screen. Okay. Phil is still lost in traffic. No idea if he's ever going to make it home. But man, the chat, we love you guys for all hanging out. We're going to do an open panel. We are going to talk about the game last night. But you know what we got to do, Heck? Get into him, Heck. Get that.
Let's do a little bit of the roll call. Shout out to my guy, Jacob Petruzzi, that's in the building. Our friend Eric Wallace is in the building. 19 comment. He said, heck, we would never know if CWC is really his cousin. I know, bro. Maybe the second time.
I was dying, bro.
Maybe the second time. My guy, Wiz, the BK kid from LA is in the building. Wiz kid, how you doing? Hector Cabrera is in the building. Hector, how you doing? Who else? We got JJ in the building. On Dios NYK. Knicks are nice is in the building. Our friend Danny Landis is in the building. Jero's in the building. Appreciate all of you guys for rocking out with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button. We are sitting at 30 likes right now, and we got over 70 people in the building. And like 19 comment says, salute to Bill Burr. Eddie, how are you feeling after the internet fuck up?
It's still out. It's still out, as you can see behind me. My fucking power's out. So
he's literally on his phone, but that pink looks dope, bro. Like I am so jealous of that pink.
Mr. fucking Charlie Ward interview.
Well, I just want you to know, I messaged Charlie's people right now while you were trying to figure out your camera. I said Phil and Eddie both had shit come up, and they said we can submit the questions to them, and Charlie will respond to the questions. So I got it for you and Phil. I did request afterwards, said, can we make it like a cameo where he does like a video so you guys don't have just like the social media manager being like, yes. So we're going to get that for Eddie.
This is why you need solar power, Eddie. All right. This is why you should invest in solar power, because the infrastructure in Florida is very infantile. But Eddie, we had a game last night against the Golden State Warriors. It was a bloodbath. We desperately need help. It is not going to be good for the New York Knicks if this is how our team is going to show. We went through the first 5 minutes of the game without scoring. The first 5 minutes of the game, we went without scoring. Eddie, I know you always drop the bottom line. Oh, wait. All right.
CT Pittman purchasing 5 coffee, says coffee for all the use. For the use.
Appreciate you, Mr. CT Pittman. Thank you so much. He can help me buy some hard-boiled eggs when we in Florida so I can have breakfast. You feel me? That's nice. But Eddie, go ahead. I'll throw it over to you, my guy. What's your thoughts?
We're in big trouble, fellas.
Oh,
this team is in big trouble. All right. If they don't get anybody back, and the timetable is what they're saying it is. If they're saying what they're saying is true, and we don't get everybody back by the end of the month, because that's what I heard. It was we hope to have everybody back by the last day of the month. There's 14 games between now and the last day of the month. If we don't get some help between now and then, we're in big trouble. We're already one game out of the play-in, and Indiana and Orlando both have the tiebreakers against us. So I'm worried. I'm very worried. And I think we're in very close danger of being in that play-in. And it's a place where, let's face it, we don't want to be. We don't want to be. Miami's already got the 5, and they're coming for us. So, again, I am very worried. It's like we're back to that. We're back to the days where we were with RJ and IQ. Remember when we couldn't beat a good team? Remember what our record was versus teams over 500?
Yeah, but the narrative's the same, but the pieces are different. We just don't have those pieces, right? And again, we can sit here and keep harping on when the health comes. The problem is it feels like you're at the end of that rope. Like you can see where the fall off of the cliff is, and you're like, are we going to get enough people on this rope in time before we fall off that cliff? So it's like a matter of which is going to happen first. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Eddie, since episode 1, we've talked about it. I said 53 wins. I don't see how we pull 18 wins off in the next 22, you know? But that's the biggest thing is what's going to come first. Are we going to get that help before we fall off that cliff? I'm still jumping out the window. I still love our team. The fact that we lost last night, heck, doesn't bother me because we did fight. But there was never a point in that game where any of us really sat there and said, we're going to win this. Every time we brought it in within 6, Eddie and I spoke about last night. Bam! All right, bring Curry back in, bring them off the bench, go back up 10, 12 points, move things around.
I see that, right? But even with the point that you just made, without the pieces that we're missing, we're not just mailing it, we're fighting. We're not mailing it in. So that has to give you some type of hope. But it would have been easy for us just to mail it in and be down by 30 points against the Golden State Warriors last night. And we didn't, Eddie. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. When you look at the news that came out yesterday, and Ian Begley put it out there, it's going to be at least a week to 10 days before anyone is back. But hope is in sight when it comes to OG and Anobi, because OG and Anobi, according to Tom Thibodeau, has been cleared to get back to on-court activity when it comes to OG and Anobi. So hopefully we can get somebody back over the next 2 weeks, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's 10 days, hopefully somebody is back. And like I was saying, the silver lining is at least we didn't mail in that loss last night. We could have easily been down by 30 points, bro, is what I'm saying.
I don't know, man. I don't know, fellas. I think we're in a lot of trouble. If we don't get these guys back within, I say, 2-3 weeks, they're not going to have enough time to gel. And that's the problem right now. That's the problem. We need OG back. We need Randle back. We need these guys back. And it's sad because if we don't, it's going to be a lost season. And that's one of my biggest nightmares.
Yeah, but when you look at it, right, the Miami Heat, and you brought up the Heat also, and also everybody in the chat, appreciate you. Just drop the comments and we'll pull them up and we'll highlight them.
Smack the like. You know what? I'm going to say this right now.
31 likes and there's over 70 people in the building. We're at 3,731 subby wubbies. Smack the subscribe button for your boys. Tell them so.
Well, I'm going to say, things must be going wrong because we've got a low viewership this morning. People rather talk more about what's going on in fake court than and come up and talk about our Knicks losing. I get it. Eddie's got power.
I got some power.
Hey, he got
the
some
lights
powder.
kicked in.
Eddie Presti
Let me go on.
got
I'm
some
gonna
power.
go on through my computer. Give me a
All
second.
right, you go fuck yourself, gorgeous. All right, how about that? That's my guy Eddie Presti. He will be back. Shout out to Eddie. But no, I just want to it's concerning, right? But hopefully when it comes to Ian Begley, we get our guys back. I brought up the Miami Heat to tell you guys the last 10 games of last season, the Miami Heat, do you know what their record was to finish last year, Celso? The last 10 games of the season? They were 3-7.
Or 2-8. 3-7.
They were 3-7. 3-7. Where did the Miami Heat go? Where did the Miami Heat go last year in the postseason?
Smack us?
No, but where did they wind up ending the season?
Playing.
In the finals.
Yeah, where they end.
So the Miami Heat, a team, finished their last 10 games last year 7-3. They were a playing team. They lost the first game to the first game of the playing tournament, and then they went on a row. That's what I'm saying. I see your concerns, and I agree with you, Eddie. We need to get our guys back as soon as we can so they can gel. But I still have faith, even if we get everybody back at the end of the month, having 8 to 10 games to figure it out before the postseason. I still think that's enough time for them to figure it out when it comes to what rotations they're going to use.
But how far will we drop, Hector? How far?
Listen, even if we drop to the 7th seed, we still got 10 games to figure it out. If we get into the play-in tournament and have to go into the play-in tournament route, copy. It's not ideal, but when our guys are healthy, are you really scared of being in the play-in tournament with a team that's a 7th seed or an 8th seed or a 9th seed?
Yeah,
with our team that's healthy, you're scared of the Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
But no, what I'm saying is you're scared. But Eddie, with our team healthy, you're going to tell me that you're scared of the fucking Chicago Bulls?
No, I'm not scared of the Bulls.
That's what I'm talking about, Eddie.
But all it takes is for one of these teams to get hot like Miami did last year, and then we're done. It's over.
None of those teams are as good as Miami.
But let's have hope that we are that team this year, Eddie. Let's hope that we are that team, that when we get our guys all healthy, everything we've been preaching for the last month of when we're healthy, I'm not going to put doubts in my head about when we're healthy that we might not be able to perform. No. I'll tell you, you know what? I'm going to switch it up here a second, because I have not thrown any shade at Tibbs this season, Eddie. You know I haven't.
No.
Last night was the first time I was a little upset with a couple of things I saw. Number one, the way he took Deuce out when Deuce was heating up again and brought Alex Burke in. I didn't like that. We came in within, 7 at that point, and then he takes Deuce out. That was one of those ones where I was like, oh, come on, Tibbs, don't do that again. Okay? Number two, we have these pieces that we know are playing out of position, but I want to be able to see him with all of our guys not healthy. Show me better adjustments. 1 second, you'll see a lineup and you're like, oh, wow, I'm shocked he actually did that. And then it's like you go back to things that just don't work. Last night is a tough game to kind of break it down because, again, most of us didn't go into that game thinking we were going to win. We were hoping for a good fight, right? And we fought. We grinded. We easily should have been smacked by 20-plus points, but we didn't, Eddie. So, again,
but
I just
like we
wish
were.
Tibbs
We
would do
got
better.
close, like you said, and every
then
time we got close, we cut it to single digits 4 separate times. We cut it to single digits, and 4 separate times Steve Kerr calls a timeout, and within 2 to 3 possessions, the lead was back up to 10-plus. And this was happening over and over. We saw them keying in on Brunson. Brunson was not himself last night. Brunson was under 50% from the field. He couldn't get going. Teams are now targeting Brunson. Teams are targeting Dante DiVincenzo. There's no third option after that. There's no guy. Josh Hart, 4 of 17 last night. Dante DiVincenzo, 6 of 21. Bojan, 0 of 7. If you want to be good, these guys got to step up. It has to be. And you guys could sit here and tell me that, we're going to get our health. And if we don't get our guys back very soon, I'm telling you, we are in big, big trouble. Eddie, and we don't know how these guys are going to come back. That's what I'm scared of.
I see your point, and it's a valid point. But look at everything that you just listed that was a negative. Dante not having a good night. Josh Hart not having a good night. Jaylen Brunson struggling. And we were still able to cut it down to single digits. If there's a silver lining, that has to be a silver lining. You can't tell me that's not.
We're never in the game, Hector. I asked Jigga. I was texting him throughout the whole game. I never felt like we were in that game. I felt like it was a wrap after they went up 14-0. That was it.
I never said we were going to win the game. Did I ever say we were going to win the game? What I'm saying is, with every negative that you just laid out, valid points, you can't tell me with our 3 guys that we have missing coming back, and if Jaylen Brunson performs better, and Dante DiVincenzo performs better, and Josh Hart, we don't win that game. You got to be asinine to say we don't win that game with our guys coming back and our guys normally doing what they're supposed to do. That's the silver lining I'm talking about, Eddie. There's a silver lining in there.
There's a silver lining, but there's also big what ifs. What if these guys don't come back? I mean, you're talking about we need a number 2 option, right? And let's say we get Randle back. Do you really expect him? We saw him at the beginning of the season. Remember, coming off that ankle surgery. He was a mess. He was an absolute mess. And it took him 10, 15 games to get back to being Randle. So again, I'm worried. I'm worried about this. Obviously, Mitch isn't going to come back being Mitch. He got 2 screws in his ankle. OG, surgery in the elbow. We don't know what to expect. And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about this team. So because we don't know what this team is, because this team never played together. And that's what I'm concerned about.
When you look at OG, what is
last night. Sorry, Heck, I'll throw it back to you. What bothered me last night is it was clear that Hart probably shouldn't have played last night. He looked uncomfortable. You saw him grimacing a bit when he'd come down, right? It was one of those ones where I appreciate that we tried to go to compete and fight, but that was probably one of those ones you should have chalked up and said, you know what? Let's take the ass whooping and let's let Hart rest a little bit. Let's get these guys back. And again, risking what we have available while waiting for what we're hoping for doesn't work well for me. I'm worried that you're going to re-injure Hart even worse, right? It's just, again, not worried that we're going to fall out. Just the concern is there because now the injuries, Heck, we talked about it, you and I last night. Typical New York sports. You hear one thing and then 6 months later you find out the guy's retiring, right? Or he has to have his arm amputated. And I feel like that's where we are. It's like you're getting these little picks. Who was it that said something positive and then Tibbs came out and said, no, he's not approved to go shoot?
Yeah. Doesn't
make sense.
When it comes to Julius Randle is 99% he's going to have surgery in the offseason.
Yeah.
Right? Last year, and this is an article that just came out from the Daily News, actually, right? Last year, Julius Randle, before the playoffs, he injured his ankle.
Yep.
And they advised Julius Randle to get surgery last year. And he played through the injury. And that's exactly what he's going to do when he comes back. I bring that up to say this. 50% of Julius Randle is better than than having no Julius Randle on the court. Having 50% of Julius Randle, it takes the pressure off of Jaylen Brunson when it comes to the triple teams, when it comes to the double team. Having a 50% Julius Randle, it takes the pressure off of Dante DiVincenzo. You bring up OG Anobi to say when he comes back, we don't know how he's going to be. The one thing you could always count on, what is OG known for? His defense. You always remember how to play defense. You may lose athleticism as you get older, but you never forget how to play defense, especially at the level of OG Anobi. So the one thing when he comes back, he may not be able to knock down those 3-point shots like he was knocking down those 3-point shots before. But the one thing we know that's going to improve when he comes back is our team's overall defense. That is what's going to improve when OG Anobi comes back, especially when you look at where we are at right now. We're in the bottom 25 when it comes to defense. So even if we get a 50% of OG Anobi back, that is still better than 0 of OG Anobi.
Shout out to the Art Man.
Concerns.
Formerly known as Steve with the 49. In the famous words of Seth Smoke a lot from Happy. God, if you're listening, help! Did I do that good, Steve? Was that the way it was supposed to be done? Help the doctor said Knicks need to back your time on. We need to play. I'm all messed up. We need to play 500 ball, beat the teams we should beat, give effort to the other game, and wait out the injuries.
Shout out to my guy, the Art Man, formerly known as Steve. Like I was saying, when OG comes back, he is known for his defense. It takes a shooter rhythm when he comes back. Defense is totally different.
Right now, I think the problem is the offense, fellas. Nobody could get a bucket. So if OG's the first to come back, the first thing I'm doing is I'm putting Bojan in that starting lineup.
No, you can't do that. The defense and his age.
I understand, but if you have OG back, he could make up for that. All right, because Randle, I think Randle's going to be the last guy to come back. That's how it looks. That's how it looks right now. So if you get OG back first, you could at least make up for some of that offense by putting Bojan in the starting lineup, and OG could help hide Bojan a little bit. We need the points, Hector. We need those points.
You need Bojan's offense for when you need Bojan's offense for when Jaylen is sitting down. You have OG back. OG will be a better offensive option next to Jaylen Brunson than any other option that's in that starting lineup right now. With Bojan's age being 35, 36 years old, we need him just to come off of the bench and provide us 20 to 25 minutes when it comes to Bojan. You can't have him in the starting lineup, especially when the defense is shaky. You know how Tom Thibodeau operates. He's going to want defense over offense and any starting lineup. OG will be also a better scoring option next to Dante and Jaylen Brunson as well, because regardless, OG is hitting that corner three at a 45% clip this season.
But if you get OG in the starting lineup, he makes everybody on defense better. He creates offense with his defense. That's how good he is. Again, I'm not saying to put Bojan in the starting lineup for the remainder of the year, but just for now, if we get OG back first, I am perfectly fine with putting Bojan in because we need offense. We need offensive help. And I'm not saying he has to be the savior, but Bojan, if he could get cooking a little bit and get comfortable, we need him to get comfortable because right now with these, how many games it's been? What has it been? About 6 games with Bojan and Burks. They both don't look comfortable. You get
Bojan looks a lot more comfortable and has been producing a lot better than Burks has.
And I saw somebody in the chat called it out too, and I'll go find it here in a second. And if it was you, just say that was me. They said Bogey's the type of guy that needs a couple of minutes to warm up. He needs to get in that. He's got to fuel up, right? So expecting just to bring him in, throw him in, get 3 shots off the gate isn't going to happen. You got to let him build up a little bit. We saw some of that last night too.
You could tell last night he was super frustrated. He like pounded his fist a couple of times because he was 0-7 last night. And he's not comfortable. Again, this is my short-term solution for the team just to get some offense. If we get OG back within the next, 10 days or so, throw Bojan in just to get his rhythm going a little bit. And then we make our final push those last 10, 15 games, and we'll see what happens.
And it's a lot easier for Bojan to score when he has to go against the second team.
Agreed.
Instead of the first unit.
Totally
it's a lot easier for Bojan to operate and take advantage of mismatches when he's going up against that second unit.
That's what he was brought here to do, go against the second unit. But I'm just saying, while we're struggling, while we're shooting, we shot 36% last night from the field, 31% from the three. While this is happening, why not just put Bojan in the starting lineup just to get him hopefully get him going
because of his age and injury concerns. That's why I don't want to do it, because of his age and injury concerns.
Again, this guy's a professional shooter. This guy's a professional player. With Detroit, the guy was hitting 20 points in his sleep. Let's not act like he wasn't. He was. He did this in Utah. This guy's a pro. So I'm just saying, and this is all hypothetical. If we hypothetically get OG back first, I'm fine with putting Bojan in that starting lineup. But again, Hector, you're right. We need Randle back. We need OG back because they are the main pieces. They're the guys that are going to, put Bojan in that second unit where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys, let me pull this up. Damian Serrano with that buy me a coffee. All it takes for our Knicks to get hot with all our guys. This could be a blessing in disguise. But Jigga, point about Tibbs. Get it together, Tibbs. And then someone, whoever you are, said, enjoy, gentlemen. Thank you, someone.
Appreciate you, Mr. Someone. Thank you so much for buying me a coffee. Appreciate you. Let's do a little bit of the roll call. My guy, Knicks are nice, is saying great discussion. Appreciate you. Knicks are nice. Valentina Official with the young one in the profile pic. Appreciate you. Kevin Guevara in the building. Shout out to my guy, Kev. Appreciate you. And you got to play Deuce more. I 100% agree with you. He was one of the only players that provided us a spark when it comes to the defense, and he was knocking down some 3-point shots. Why are we doing this with Alec Burks? When we made the trade, we traded for Bojan, right? Alec Burks was the throw-in in that trade, right? When it comes to Bojan, Eddie, you brought up his past. He's been proven in Utah. He's been proven in the playoffs. Bojan has done it. I'm not sure about Alec Burks. Yes, Alec Burks was shooting over 40% from the three-point line, but does that translate? 40% in Detroit on a bottom tier team, one of the worst teams in the league. Does that translate to 40% with the New York Knicks, who are competing for a playoff spot? So far, it does not translate.
No. I look, right now, Deuce is proven and he's earned those minutes. I don't care. I know Tibbs is going with Burks, but Tibbs has got to start looking at the tape. And the tape tells you, when we watch this game, Deuce makes a difference. Deuce impacts the game. Deuce has earned the right to be that backup point guard. And the only thing Deuce has got to do better is learn how to be more of a facilitator and play those pick and rolls. Once he does that, he will officially be that backup point guard. It's not hard. He's this close. He's this close to taking that job.
And that's why the New York Knicks, I know, when it comes to the roster, we may have one available spot. Not sure what they're going to do with Taj Gibson as of right now. Nothing has been officially announced. But this is why, even with the guys that are coming back,
the announcement comes
today, you need to go out there and you need to sign either Patty Mills, or if Morris is available still, you go out there and you get a reunion with Morris. We need a big body. I'd rather Morris more than Patty Mills, but Patty Mills just to help Deuce McBride with being able to be a backup point guard. But Morris, because we miss that toughness without Julius Randle. We need somebody to provide that toughness, and Morris would be that person to provide that toughness in the absence of Julius Randle. We need someone who can go out there and throw people around. Ever since Julius Randle has been out, Jaylen Brunson is being tossed on the floor, being knocked on the floor. We don't have no one to step in the other person's face and draw that technical foul and say, don't touch our star. And Marcus Morris would be that perfect person to fill that role for us. We need that going into the postseason.
So we need a defender. It feels like, right? I mean, that's 2 games back to back, bloody noses, Villanova boys.
But not only is he a defender, he is also a bully in the NBA.
That's what I'm saying.
He is
like
also someone that will get in somebody's face, reminiscence of the Charles Oakley from the late 90s.
You're basically talking about them needing an enforcer. That's what they need, is an enforcer. Yeah. And I agree. I'm with you. If Morris is available today, you got to sign this guy. Again, I don't know if he's available, but listen, I'm at the point of I'll take Robin Lopez at this point because it's that we're just weak. We're weak right now.
Listen, Robin Lopez, he's been beating the shit out of mascots. We need someone who has some fight.
I'm with you, man.
You know what, guys? We'll keep the conversation going, but we just hit that 1 hour mark. Appreciate everybody in the chat.
Yes.
See people are tuning in. Landry, what's going on? Let me go ahead and pop this in here. We're going to do the open panel. So if you got something to say, come on up. We'll do what do you think? One at a time tonight?
Yeah,
we do one at a time depending on who's out there. And also, if anybody sees our guy Double A, hopefully Double A is doing good. I haven't seen him in the chat in the last couple of days. We're going to be in Florida next week, and we got to link up with Double A. Double A, if you're out there, just know we missed you, and we need you here, big fella.
Yeah, Double A.
We are at 3,733 subscribers. Appreciate the new subs. Let us know in the chat if you are a new sub. Oh, my God. The Art Man, formerly known as Steve, appreciate you for the 1999. The problem is Boji is 35. Not to be ageist. Tibbs needs to get him in the game earlier to get him into rhythm. If we're worried about him so much, then this trade was a no good. Burks doing just as much as we watching from the couch. Absolutely nada. Absolutely, Steve.
He's right. He's right.
And it sucks because, you have to sit here and see the timeline. You got to see everybody saying, oh, they brought their losing ways from Detroit over here. And it's like, yeah, we can sit there. Burks' shot selection is horrible. But every time I see him do what he's doing, I'm like, that's not why you're here. That wasn't the reason we brought you. And it's like, it's hard to sit here and judge what we're seeing again. Back to the same topic. We don't have our guys. If our guys were healthy and I still am going to see what I'm seeing from Burks, then we have a problem. then we all know that the joking side of, oh, he'll play Burks no matter what, was real. And it's like, come on, Tim, you can't do that. But I'm not pleased with Burks.
I thought that was
There's
just a
nothing
meme.
Exciting. Yeah, for real, right?
I thought that was just a meme, but it's actually reality. Benji in the chat says Bogey is 34. Yeah, he turns 35 next month in April. Shout out to my guy Benji. But I guarantee you this, his metabolic age is probably like 48 years old when it comes to Bogey.
Is this Detroit players' fault or the Roommates podcast? Well, here's the thing. I don't like Detroit. I do like the Roommates podcast. So I'm going to blame the Detroit boys, all right?
I do like the Roommate podcast, but ever since they started that podcast, we do have a losing record. I'm just saying, ever since the debut of the Roommate podcast, we have a losing record. No shade. Shout out to Jaylen. Shout out to Josh Hart. They do amazing work. We ran into Josh Hart when we was at the Garden on Monday, and Phil forgot to hit the record button when we were talking with him, but he did laugh at my joke. So, I'm Josh Hart thinks I'm funny. So that's a win.
All right.
I still can't get over that Phil literally. But he was holding it, Eddie. Staring right there with Josh.
It was like this.
It was like, wait, is that really Josh? Josh, hey,
professional recorder. You had one
like
job.
this the entire time. His finger was right on top of the button. He ain't pressed the button. He was just watching like that.
That sucks, man. That sucks.
Guys, can we talk about
chat.
Go ahead.
Hold on, I want to shout out the chat. Shout out to my guy Cam from the Kickback in the building. Salute, fellas. Morning Brew crew chat. Tough loss. Lineup changes on the way? ? Is this season a wash? Realistically, I'm looking at next year all healthy for a deep playoff run. Cam, I see what you're saying, but hopefully we get our guys back. I set it earlier. According to Ian Begley, we would be getting OG and Anobi back before anyone else, hopefully within the next 10 to 14 games. I see what you're saying about next year, but I want to focus on right now. Hopefully our guys can come back and be healthy for that stretch run in the postseason.
On that one, you and I, it was yesterday, right? That I said that. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, it's like the Jets season. And again, just bringing up the Jets because obviously Jets fan, but it's like you had all these hopes. Aaron Rodgers goes down, O-line injuries. That's it. You're done. You're like, oh, and everything was okay. It's a wash for next season. And it's so hard to have to be here and even think about that with our Knicks this year, with the moves that we made, the way we were playing, the lead we had. Like, it would suck, Cam, if that's where we're at, where it's a wash and we got to go. I'm still on the get me my guys back, get us to the dance. We just got to get in there, and I believe in this team.
You see there's a I'm sorry, Eddie, I just want to ask you, I'm not going to put a name or a face to the player. I'm just going to say who's available. And we're going to see if you want them. And then I'm going to tell you who the player is. So there's a small forward / power forward that may be waived from their team. They were traded at the trade deadline or right before the trade deadline. It is a young kid who was a top lottery draft, never lived up to his promise. He is a 6'8", 6'9" small forward. He is deadly from the three-point line. Would you take a chance on this kid?
Is it Kai Jones?
No, it's Kevin Knox.
Kevin.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
No, I said, look, CD Pippen knew exactly who I was talking about. I saw it earlier this morning as I was getting ready for the show. I'm like, oh, he may get waived. Let me fuck with Eddie this morning.
I mean, look, man. Listen, we have to get our guys back, Heck. We have to get our guys back. Because if we get our guys back, we at least know where we stand. You understand? Yeah. We have to get these guys back because if they come back, we have to see what we are. We have to see where we are. You understand? As a team, we have to know where we are. So let's say we come in, we get our guys back, we get 10 games together, and then we get to the second round or we get to the Eastern Conference Finals. We have to know what our flaws are as a team. And if we don't get our guys back, that's another big, big question mark then going into next season. So it is so important for us to get OG and Randle back. It's because it's make or break.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. If we had everybody, then, hopefully we can sit there and we'll be at a point where we say there are no flaws, right? And that's what I'm hoping we can see. But, man, I don't know. Go ahead, Heck. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, I was going to say it is concerns, right? And I think everybody in the chat, I think all of you guys, we all share the same concerns and frustrations, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm keeping that same energy I had in the month of January, right? Yes, we're struggling right now, but I'd rather see the team go 2-8 over 11 games right now, instead of seeing that at the end of the season, instead of seeing that in the postseason. We all knew the momentum that the team had in the month of January, it's not sustainable for the entire season. We understand that Jaylen Brunson wasn't going to be hitting that clip from the 3-point line, right? It's not realistic. We know the players are going to struggle. It's good that it's happening right now in the month of February and not in the month of April or in the postseason in June when it comes to their struggles.
I see. Hold on real quick. I'm going to switch it up. We got people that are actually logging in backstage.
All right.
Bam!
Okay.
Quick little shifty shift. I'll put my peanut head at the bottom. Landry, give me a little thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to come up, my guy.
Yo,
My guy, yo,
Landry's in the
what it
building.
do, brother? How are you feeling? Listen, it was great seeing you on Saturday, right?
Likewise.
Dope linking up. If you guys missed out, you missed out. You got to catch the next one. But you've been listening to the conversation, brother. Let the people in the chat know, since it's your first time on the open panel, where you're from, who you are, and how far does Knick fandom go? Go ahead.
All right, what up? What's up? So, hi, my name is Lonray. I'm from New Jersey, born and raised. I've been a Knicks fan since 2010, and well, it's it goes deep. It goes deep. From the Amari and Mellow days, well, pre-Mellow days when Amari was the only one running the show in town, and he brought us back to relevance and all that. Shout out TT, Playback Gang in the building.
Playback gang.
Playback Gang in the building. You know how it be, bro. You know how it be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the conversation we're having this morning, when it comes to the concerns with the team right now, we're struggling right now in the absence of OG and Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson. What's your thoughts when this team gets healthy? I see Knicks fans jumping out the window. I know it's a cause of concern, but how are you feeling when it comes to the roster, the health, and realistically this season?
Okay, of course. So yeah, obviously in January we were flying. It felt like nothing could stop us, and then all of a sudden, injury bug hits. From one dirty charge from Jaime Jaquez. That's what the Heat do. It's the dirtiest team in the league. You all saw that fight they had down in New Orleans the other night, or like last week, right?
Yeah.
They got Jimmy Butler suspended for a few games, and I think someone else, Duncan Robinson, trying to trip Herb Jones. Yeah, I mean that's just what they are. So from when Randle, kind of messed up his shoulder, and since then it's kind of been like a situation of dominoes just continuing to fall. And now this is a stretch. We just finished February. We were what, 6-8 this month, I believe, or
yeah.
Yes, 6-8. Yeah, tough month.
I think this is the first month. 4-8 this season. I think this was the first month this season that we finished under 500, if I'm not mistaken. Also,
yeah, that's for sure. I was saying, before the All-Star break, we had that 4-game losing streak heading right into it. And I'm just saying, let's just get to the All-Star break. Let's get our guys healthy. I did think. I mean, I did know that we were going to get some of our guys back in March, but I didn't know it was going to be, kind of this, this tough, this tough of a watch. Jaylen Brunson gets assaulted every game now, and he rarely gets the calls. Josh Hart literally got whacked in the nose by Zion, his ex-teammate, and all of a sudden there's no call. He's literally busted open. His nose is gushing, and there's no call.
Literally.
And the refs allowed it. The rumor is Zion Williamson busted his nose because RJ Barrett wanted some get back after he let that leak on the podcast. That's the rumor.
Hey, I mean, he's running for his dog, man. He's running for his dog from Duke dogs,
Yeah. Go ahead, Sels.
Yeah, I think these injuries are definitely a huge cause for concern. But I would advise against panicking. I've seen some people on Reddit and other places, on Twitter and all that stuff. I've seen people compare us to you start to get feelings of comparing us to the Bulls from 2 years ago, where they were flying. In January, they were top of the conference actually. Then all of a sudden, Lonzo Ball gets hurt, and we haven't seen him since. And a bunch of their other, I think DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and I think even Vucevic had time out that year too. And then the dominoes just started falling. They plummet to the play-in, and they get knocked out first round. So people, I mean, well, I wouldn't go that extreme. The worries and concerns are valid, and
Yeah.
but I just think that once we get OG, Randall, and Mitchell back, I think we'll at the very least consolidate like the number 4 seed. Now the question is, who will we play in that 4-5 matchup? And depending on who it is, would it be some people were asking, this isn't necessarily my opinion, but some people were asking, would it be more beneficial to like drop to the 6, so you can at least avoid Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals? Because people are, who knows? 5 seed could be Philadelphia 76ers. If Embiid comes back, that's going to be a really, really difficult matchup if he's rested and back, anywhere close to 100%. Even if we were to win that series, just the bruising we'd have to deal with from Mitch and Ihart, both inevitably getting in more foul trouble than usual, just because Embiid just bullies the shit out of you.
Yeah.
It might make up deep playoff run a little harder.
Yeah, and that's a cause of concern that I think every Knicks fan was sharing right now. And CT Pittman, they put it in the chat. Shout out to my guy CT Pittman.
Say it with your chest.
The players aren't
Say it,
folding. The
They're not.
fans are folding. The players are literally out there giving it their all day in and day out. And that's what I've been saying.
Exactly.
Eddie, I agree with you when it comes to the concerns. I am right there with you, right? I don't want to see us lose. I get that. I'm not trying to spend 4 quarters or invest 2 hours of my day to watch the Knicks lose. But when you see the silver lining that we're still competing and we're still someone in these games and we're not being outclassed or we're not being outscored by like 20 or 30 points by the time we're in the third quarter. That's the only silver lining I have. And I think any Knicks fan out there should understand where I'm coming from. So, what about you?
Lombre, bro, appreciate you. First of all, when I got to meet you this weekend, that was dope. And I was like, man, I always see Lombre because we go in Sean's playback. So we always in there together, the playback gang. And I always love your comments and takes inside the playback. Appreciate you being on the panel for the first time, my guy.
Thank you for having me.
Open door
Anytime
policy.
you want to come up, bro, we here. Appreciate you, homie.
Appreciate you.
Larry?
Yeah, much love also, Lombre. Can't wait to link up with you again for another event when the postseason comes around, because last one, it was a movie.
So good. I want to just talk about Sims a little bit last night. I want to hear what you guys thought about how Sims played and where you're at with it right now, Eddie, when it comes to Sims.
I mean, he is what he is. He's a young guy. He's not a veteran. He's not the smartest player in the world, but he's okay. He serves a purpose. It's just that, when you go against teams like Golden State, I mean, Golden State was just picking them apart, and Golden State played the Knicks game right against them. So Golden State played the way the Knicks usually play, scoring tons of points in the paint, getting rebounds, getting second chance opportunities.
We couldn't get rebounds from him.
We won the battle of the rebounds, but we won it by 2. But we went up against a team that was just like a better version of us. Like they were hitting shots that we normally would hit. They would get second chance opportunities. They were getting rebounds. It was tough. I mean, Kuminga was a boss last night in the paint. I mean, I think he was, what was he? He was 12 and 19. Kuminga was 12 and 19. He tore us apart. And that's usually what we do. But again, Golden State's a tough matchup for us. They're a bad matchup. So again, nobody's healthy. You talk about Jericho Sims. He's great in limited roles. He's serviceable. He's serviceable. But like when you go up against Golden State, you got to go small versus them. You got to play small ball unless you have Mitch. Unless you have heart.
Not only that, because we saw at some times they were running Draymond Green at the 5 when Jericho Sims was out there, and Draymond Green, he is a very crafty and smart defender. He knows how to get Jericho Sims out of his comfort zone. He knows how to move Jericho Sims away from the rim so Jericho Sims doesn't impact the game, and that's good coaching. And that's what we saw from Steve Kerr last night. To Celso's point, when you look at Tom Thibodeau, we've given Tom Thibodeau a lot of credit this season, but we got to call him out when he gets out coached. And last night, Steve Kerr was out coaching him. Granted, he's missing some players, but he was still out coached by that matchup when it comes to Jericho Sims and Draymond Green, and Tom Thibodeau not actually seeing that and making adjustment to that. But
Hector,
it's a tough matchup.
My thing with Eddie is like, You guys remember the scenes in like Smallville when Clark Kent starts learning he has powers, Superman, and he's like walking, and then he jumps sporadically, or the eyes come out, and he doesn't know how to control it yet. He's still learning.
I've never been a Superman fan. I don't like Superman. I don't like him.
I've never watched this Smallville,
but I think Superman's a loser.
You know what? I am.
Listen.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I mean, look, you're right about Kerr out coaching Tibbs last night. Again, go back and watch the game. After every single time Kerr called a timeout, Golden State came back and they ran a perfect play and they scored. Like that's what good coaching is. Always judge a coach on their after timeout plays. Look at us, what we did after a timeout. We'd come out after a timeout. Guys would be over dribbling, take a bad shot, run the clock down to the 24 seconds. It was a mess. But that's what we are right now. We're a mess because we don't have any offensive threats. We don't have our defense. We don't have our guys. We're a train wreck.
You're putting pressure on the role players, and you're asking them to step up and do something that they've never done in their career.
We're asking Dante DiVincenzo to be a star, and he's not. He's a great role player.
He is a great role player. He had a phenomenal week of scoring over 20-plus points per game, but teams are keying in on him. We need someone else to take the pressure off of Dante. That someone else will also take the pressure off of Jaylen Brunson as well. It's a trickle-down effect. You get somebody back, and everybody else, the pressure gets taken off of them. Now you move Josh Hart to the bench unit. Now, Josh Hart is not in the starting unit. If OG Anobi comes back, you're allowing Josh Hart to do what he does best, and that's operate with the second unit. Josh Hart, he is a lot better going up against the second unit than he is going up against the first unit.
Yeah, I still have mad love for Josh Hart. What he's done over these last couple of games, like the Josh Hart slander. For those in the chat that have that slander, I haven't seen much today, but on the timeline, stop it already. Like, and he's out there doing what he got to do for us.
And he has been shooting better post the All-Star break when it comes to the three-point line. When you look at the stats show you from the three-point line since the All-Star break, he has been better. Granted, it's a small sample size. We want to see it on a longer scale, but he is better.
Again, it's like you said, Josh Hart should be playing out of the second unit. I mean, we're asking this guy to be a starter, and he's not equipped to handle being a starter. He's not a consistent shot maker. Here's what it is. What is Josh Hart?
No, I'm not laughing at that. Shout out to Phil. Josh Hart, the glue guy shirt is dropping this week. Shout out to my guy Nick Nice who just wears it on his chest. I just don't like him. I appreciate your honesty, my guy. I appreciate your honesty. If there's one thing I always like, honesty is always the best policy when it comes to me.
I don't like his contract. I don't like his contract.
Merxo Saucy said
like his
face. To you. He said, I have a question for you guys, but then he said, throw it to Eddie. If you don't want Tibbs, then what coach are you bringing in, bro, for the Knicks?
No. I still want Tibbs.
I'm sticking with Tibbs.
I'm extending Tibbs. I mean, I wish
we talked about
one guy who was available 2 weeks ago was Steve Kerr. He just got an extension, and he's the highest paid coach in the league. That's one of the guys I would have took.
He turned this down already. I
don't care about that. I'm all good. I don't care about that. Get rejected once, and then you get him the second time. But again, right now, it's up to me.
It makes sense. It makes sense, Eddie. You're also a Met fan, right? And you know what I say about Knicks fans and Met fans. It means you can love something unconditionally and not expect shit back in return.
Yes, agreed. 100%.
Jose, what up, my guy? Jay Hart is a big piece to this team. I really don't understand why we talk about him the way we do. One hell of a player, does all the dirty things.
We're talking about him because he was 4-17 last night from the field. So
true. And I want to answer that question when it comes to Tom Thibodeau. Like I said, I'm sticking with Tom Thibodeau. I think me and Eddie, we agree when it comes to this, because when you look at Tom Thibodeau, we always thought that Tom Thibodeau's job was safe because of Julius Randle, because that's Julius Randle's guy, and he goes 100% and hard for Julius Randle. When this season, we figured out it's totally different. Jaylen Brunson is Tom Thibodeau guy. The relationship that Jaylen Brunson has with Tom Thibodeau, it goes deeper than basketball. The relationship that Rick Brunson has with Tom Thibodeau and with Leon Rose, it goes deeper than basketball. They all known Jaylen Brunson ever since he was a child, and they made him into the player that he is today. So I think Tom Thibodeau, when he leaves, the head coaching job, it would be to get elevated to the front office. I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to walk or is going to get fired. It's either going to retire, get a promotion, or just walk away from the game. I don't think he's going to get fired.
I can't picture him being in the front office. Imagine him from up in the seats cursing and screaming. I can't picture.
I can just hear him. I can just hear him right now. Hold on, I can just hear him right now in the middle of the game. All you hear is Obi. Like that's.
I can't picture.
You know how people joke saying that like they can hear the ghost of Marilyn Monroe in the old Yankee Stadium. We're gonna hear the ghost of Tom Thibodeau in the next 50 years in Madison Square Garden, just screaming Obi.
And when it comes to Tibbs, our guy Al Cintron, like he always says, our coaching record, over the last 20 years, I think we were like 500, 900, some crazy disparity. Yeah. And Tibbs has been the best coach we've had here since Van Gundy. So, I mean, the results speak for itself. Even though we all know he's not perfect, even though we all know he's not the most crafty guy on offense, we've won with this guy. So we have to keep the continuity. And that's why I want to keep Tibbs here, because he's won and he's proven. And we have not had that guy since Van Gundy.
Savage NYC said he's going to become a spokesman for Just for Men. Me and Tibbs, Savage. All right. Me and Tibbs. All right. Shout out to you. What else? CT Pittman said the Tibbs front office experiment didn't work in Minnesota. And I think that's because he was doing both jobs. That he was a coach and also he was doing the front office duties. And you can't do both. It's a lot already to be a head coach in the NBA. You can't be a head coach and the president of basketball operations and the GM and for your team. You have to give up. Yeah. You got to give up your responsibilities to other people. That's like here when it comes to what we do, right? Me, Celso, Phil, we share the responsibilities when it comes to like the thumbnails, when it comes to like the descriptions, when it comes to the time. We share all of that. Celso does a lot of the graphic works because he's the best at that. But what I'm saying, we share a lot of the load at what we do. Right, Celso?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do a fucking thing, so.
Yeah, we saw you trying to log on with your phone on the stream. We saw how.
Well, I was reading this one when you threw it to me. But Joseph Jefferson in the chat said Tibbs needs to try some bench players like Jacob Toppin. Burks is not playing like Burks, and Precious is having trouble on both ends of the floor. We need help now.
Jacob Toppin is the answer, fellas.
Hey.
What? Not Jacob?
He's not that guy, man.
It's not that he's not that guy. It's just Tom Thibodeau is not going to give him the chance to try to be that guy. That's what it is.
He's not. Come on.
No. But what I'm saying is that Tom Thibodeau is not going to give him the chance to see if he could be that guy. Sunil, my guy, salute. Especially the Sopranos looking paisano.
Right, man. All right. So before we wrap up,
go ahead.
Two things. One, I see everybody calling this a slump. Would you label this a slump?
No, we're in trouble.
I wouldn't label this a slump. No. I would just say we're just missing pieces. We're the Walking Dead right now. We're just missing pieces. We're the operation board. We're the Walking Dead right now. That's exactly what we are. But that's why I have it. Like Tom Thibodeau is still going to have his team competing day in and day out. Even though we're losing these games, I still see this team competing.
I don't know. I'm looking at the schedule, and it terrifies me. I see like 2 winnable games over the next. The only, what our saving grace is that we faced the 76ers twice, because they're like, how we just been in a tailspin.
They're just as bad.
They're the exact same team. They've been in a tailspin since Embiid went down. So again, that's the only hope I see on the schedule is those 2 games versus the 76ers. Maybe we could take those back to back. And then after that, maybe we get OG back. Like that's my little.
So you have no hope against Cleveland on Sunday?
No, 0. I don't have hope at all. I think we're gonna get crushed
against Cleveland.
Yes,
I agree with Eddie. We better get that game.
On Monday, on Tuesday, Atlanta. I think we got to win there. Orlando.
Wait, what? Tim Tibbs, one more time. Sorry, Julian. Tom Tibbs, one more time. I apologize. So sorry. The Cavs, yes, I agree. When it comes to the Cavs, we're going to lose that game. We better win the game against the Hawks.
Yeah.
The Magic, that's a loss. The 76ers, I'm right there with you. The Trailblazers, that's a win.
It should be, but we don't know. We don't know the way we're playing right now. Those guys on Portland, They have a ton of talent. They have
what
a
I'm saying,
ton of talent.
But what I'm saying, what I'm saying, Eddie, is it is March 1st right now. That Portland Trailblazer game is March 14th. Ian Begley said that OG Anobi could come back in 10 to 2 weeks, 10 days or 2 weeks. So basically 10 to 14 days. No, he said 10. He said 10 to 14 days. That OG Anobi will be back.
That game, then that's
10 to 14 days is that game.
Okay.
Against the Trailblazers. So potentially we can have OG back for that game, and then we got Sacramento, we got the Warriors again, and we have the Denver Nuggets on that West Coast road trip.
Yeah.
So potentially we could get OG back for that West Coast road trip.
Okay. Listen, if we get him back by then, I think that'll be like.
It was more than just Begley; it was other people too who said it yesterday.
I think it's more if we get him back, it's sort of like a mental lift for the team, right? Like for example, when the Mets would get Jacob deGrom back in the end, like a couple of years ago, he was a mental boost for the team. We get OG back, the team is gonna they're gonna have a newfound confidence in themselves. Like it's gonna be like, we got OG back, we're back in this thing because he's a threat and he's gonna make the team better. Again, his defense will cause offense. We're gonna be getting more fast breaks. We're gonna get easier buckets, things that we've been fighting for these last 12 games. So it's going to be a huge mental lift as soon as OG gets back. Huge.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. We're beating Cleveland Cavaliers on Sunday.
All right. Copy.
That's on Sunday. We have a show on Monday.
You better be here Monday too, Eddie. You better be here Monday for the show. If you're not here on Monday, I will find you because I will be in Florida. I will hunt you down. Okay. You haven't seen Taken? You haven't seen Taken? I will find you. I will find you.
Everybody in the chat that's on the side of winning, thumbs up. Those of you that think we're going to get dog walked by the Cleveland Cavs, thumbs down. I want to see. There we go. CT Pittman's with Porto. Let's go. Put them up there.
And like Savage NYC said,
NBA. Okay.
And like Savage NYC said, OG is going to have them fresh legs.
Elbows, shoulders, so on. John Pettit with a thumbs up. Let's go. You guys ain't, I'm sorry, you ain't bringing me down, damn it. Okay, I know what we're dealing with. But
so we're about to get out of here.
Since, January 1st.
We still got over 70 people
Brunson and
rocking with us. If you guys can, smack that like button and throw the like in the chat to shut Eddie up with his negative Nancy self.
Smack the like, subscribe, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Come on, we're gonna beat the best team in the NBA since January 1st.
There
you go, Eddie. You know why we gonna beat them? You know why we gonna beat them? Because we gonna be in Florida. That's why we gonna beat them. We gonna be together. Oh, hold on, that's right. Because Sunday when we're together, we're gonna be cutting a cake because it's somebody's birthday. Happy birthday to
Hector's girl.
Oh, Celso's birthday. Okay.
That's right. Everybody in the chat, drop the happy birthday for Celso in the chat. And Warren, where were you, my guy? We were looking for you. We had Charlie Ward here today. We were looking for you. We were waiting for you so we can ask Charlie Ward if you're his cousin. My guy, Warren, what are you doing, my guy?
Well, now that you called it out. Thanks. Yes, it is my birthday today. 42 whopping years old. Appreciate you, Knicks and Nice. Appreciate everybody. I thought we were going to get the whole episode without Hector. I was hoping to get away with not telling anybody. I even changed my birthday on Twitter so it doesn't do the balloons.
Sorry. Grown men should not be celebrating their birthday after 21.
I try to keep it quiet.
You're really an asshole. You're just really the Grinch, bro. That's really what you are. No, you're not even the Grinch because even the Grinch was happy at the end of the movie. You're just miserable.
Grown men after
even 21, the Grinch was happy at the end of the movie.
Yeah, at least the Grinch was happy. You're just Eddie.
Sorry, that was
happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thanks. Eddie, I went on Twitter and changed my birthday date so the people don't see the balloons. I was like, yeah, we're good. And Hector,
I'm going to bring you balloons and a cake.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Guys,
it is
just know
actually
one
today,
thing.
Ron. Appreciate you.
Just know one thing. If
No.
your puppy dies, don't ever call Eddie so he can comfort you. That's the one thing I'm going to tell everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate everybody for showing up today. Smack that like button on the way out and hit that subscribe button. So take us out of here.
Appreciate everybody in the chat, guys. We got so much content next week. Me, Phil, and Heck will be live together again for the entire week of Knicks Morning Brew. Appreciate everybody that tunes in. If you haven't yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe. And listen, I did the math, right? I didn't say I did it well, but I did math. And if you take every one of our subscribers and you say, hey, subscriber, go tell your cousin or your brother or your friend to sub, all of a sudden we're at 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate everybody with the birthday wishes. Thank you, Merk. Thanks everybody in there. Julian Blum, bro, I met you in real life. I'm not letting you punch me for my birthday, bro. Like, I would probably fly through the wall. There's a big difference here between you and I.
You definitely gonna fly through the wall if Julian punches you. That's all I'm saying.
On that note, let's go get this Cavs win. Come back on Monday and rub it in Eddie's face. Deuces!
Deuces!